Hello guys, it's another day here at the sim. Got the 737 SS behind me, single seat. It's looking quite good. We're going to move on and do the next part. And that just happens to be another Korry indicator, and that is sat right next to the old rectangle ones. Now this is a slightly bigger one, it's a square one, and it's the stab out of trim one. It just so happens to be that it's the same size as the master caution and fire warning. And I'm going to use these real indicators to create my version of these items. Now I've created some custom PCBs to make this build much simpler. Here they are, front and back. You can see that I've labelled the 3 pins 1, 2, 3 so you know exactly what they're for. All we've got to do is populate this with the electrical components. You can see that we need 2 tactile LED switches, and this is no different. We're just going to mount them in the PCB, making sure that we get the anode the right way round. And I've always designed these so that both the cathodes face towards the centre of the board. They click in nice and simply. We're just going to flip it over, put it in the vise just to temporarily hold it. We're just going to grab the soldering iron and solder those 12 legs. So I've got some male header pins, they're blue this time, and I'm just going to cut 3 of them off the row. There we go. And they're going to attach on the back side of the PCB, right at the bottom. So I'm just going to solder 1 pin, therefore I can adjust the angle of the pins, because right now they're not straight. So I can put my fingers on the other side, just solder it on, get them straight, quick blow, and yep, that's good. Now we can solder the other 2 pins. 1, oh, not quite enough solder on that one. 2, perfect. Now that we've got our PCB created, all we've got to do is attach some screws so we can mount the back plate. From the LED side, I'm just going to put 2 M3 screws. These are 16mm long. Once again, if you're using a 3mm back panel, 12mm is about right. I'm just using 16 to give us that extra length in case I've got to go through thicker myself. This would be the first time I've fitted them in my panel. So I'm just going to put a nut on the back, screw it all the way down. There's 1, there's 2. Right, let me get my socket to tighten them up. 5.5 to be really awkward. That's 5.5mm for our US friends. There we go. And that's how she looks from the back. We can bring in our outer case, which has got 737 DIY sim handily at the top to help you orientate it. That's the reason honest. And we've got our center case here, and it's got the receptacles for the tactile LEDs to go in the back. Simply slide those 2 together, grab our PCB, put it in at 45 degrees, give it a squish. There's a nice audible click there. So I'm just going to test the fit to make sure that it is free to move in and out, and it is. I've got these tiny M2 by 5mm screws. Got my little electric screwdriver here, and we'll try, oh no, let's try and put them in straight at least. There we go. There's 1 in the opposite corner. So there's the back view, and there's the front view. So we'll bring in my selection box here, and this houses all the parts of all the indicators that I've been building. It's quite handy. What do we need? Right, so got a diffuse lens here, that's what I'm calling it anyway, diffuser lens. There she goes. So we've got our master caution lens, and I've already showed you how I create these with a bit of wax from Amazon. Just going to make sure that the text on the outer casing is facing up, and that we slide the master caution lens in from the top. Now, there we go. It's in, and it should actually sit below the surface. I'll bring in the real one. There we go. So there's the real one, and there's my version. So they do have a recess, and they're not sat flush like the other Korrys. So I guess that just leaves one thing, and that's to power it on and see how it looks. There we go. I think that works quite well. It's evenly lit all the way around. So that's it off, on, and off. A slow glow off there. Okay, so that was using white LEDs and orange, and you can't tell that they were white just like the real thing. But on this next version, we've got the fire warning here. I actually want to try red LEDs and see how they look. So give me 2 secs while I build another PCB, and I'll get back to you. After that quick interlude, that is the 3 captions created, and I think they look absolutely fantastic. So now I've put the back shell on the back. So I got asked by quite a few people, how does the caption stop from pulling through the panel on the last set of Korrys? Well, if I show you a bit closely, you can see that lip on the outer case there. That butts against the panel. Then we've got our back shell, and that goes over the back. Just got to line the holes up. There we go. So it goes over the screw threads, and we trap the panel between the 2 parts by putting 2 nuts on the screws here. That's it, all 3. I'll quickly show you what they look like lit up, and then we'll get to fitting the stab out of trim, the suit, into the panel behind me. So in theory, all I need to do is just put the 2 pins on, and they should light up. There we go. So we've seen the master caution, that's that one. We've got the stab out of trim here. And I've got a spider coming down my glasses. There we go. Let me just remove that spider. Did he come off? Yeah, I think he did. Okay. So, back to it, stab out of trim, all done. And the final one, which is the fire warning. So the fire warning was using red LEDs. Let's see what that looks like. So with this one, you can actually see hot spotting. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to pull the caption out. There we go, there's the red ones. I'm going to try with white now and see what that looks like. So there's our white captions. Hopefully I can grab the center without dropping it again. There we go, click it into position. And there we go. That looks much better. No hot spotting, and the light is spread. So actually, it's better to use white lights, white LEDs for any colour, and use the correct colour lens. It just gives a much better finish. Well, that saves me having to buy orange LEDs from now on. Okay, let's put the power leads to one side. Let's bring the MIP in. Because we're not going to use the fire warning or the master caution in the MIP right now, we're going to have to save those to later, so I can put them to one side as well. Let's shift the mat out of the way. Got my stab out of trim, which is what I actually am going to fit. And now to help secure and stop the MIP from falling over, because it is quite fragile, I'm just going to put a clamp on the bottom corner there. I'm going to come around to this side of the desk. Got my stab trim, or at least it fits, so it's going in. On goes the 2 little M3 nuts to help secure it. And we'll just use this awkward sized 5.5mm socket just to gently pull the 2 parts together with the nuts. So that's it, fully installed and rock solid. And that is another part done, guys. It is starting to look absolutely phenomenal. Really pleased with it. In the next build video, I'm not too sure if we're going to do the AFDS panel here next, or the lights test panel. Lights test panel is going to be so simple, it's just a switch in a back box. And then we're going to move on to the really complicated panel, which is the auto brake panel. Until next time, guys, sim out.